Hello, everybody, and welcome to InHouse-CON. Sorry if we had anybody out there panicking. We were experiencing a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we've got it sorted out. So we're good to go. So welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Derek Mackey. I am the president of Cool Waters Productions. We're an appearance management company out here in Hollywood, and our speciality is bringing wonderful actors face-to-face to meet their fans all around the world. And because of this wonderful pandemic that we are experiencing globally, pretty much those events have been shut down completely. And so we decided to start this online television series and convention so that we could bring our clients to you from the comfort of their home and the comfort of your home. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you all here with us. I'm calling in from Los Angeles, California today. You'll have to excuse me if I hack a few times. The smoke filling our atmosphere down here in Los Angeles is horrific, but it's okay because we're going to have fun today. The great part today is that we have literally both sides of the globe joining us today. One of our guests is calling in all the way from Australia. Another one is calling all the way in from the UK, and then of course we have ourselves here in Los Angeles. Before we get started, I want to explain to all of our viewers a little bit about how to operate your gallery view so that you can have a good viewing experience with us, okay? In the upper right-hand part of your screen, if you're calling in from a laptop or desktop computer, doesn't matter if it's a Macintosh or a PC, you should choose gallery view. Gallery view allows you to see all of the guests and myself talking at one time. If you choose speaker view, it allows the Zoom app only to focus in on who's speaking, which means if one of our guests accidentally yawns or makes a laugh during someone else's comment, Zoom could switch over to the laugh or the yawn, and that's what you'll be looking at. So switch over to gallery view. For those of you calling in on a smart device, such as a phone, you will not have this option. I am sorry. Zoom will control what you see, but our panelists will try to keep crossover talk to a minimum so that you are allowed to see who is speaking at this time. I want to take an opportunity to let those of you out there know, I mean, all of the V fans that are watching right now, thank you so much for joining us. We are so happy to have you here. But Cool Waters Productions and InHouse-CON, of course, represents a lot of other actors from a lot of other realms. And we invite all of our V fans to also tune in for some of our upcoming events. If you're a Star Wars fan, next week we have the 6 Knights of Ren, which were Kylo Ren's assistants in Rise of Skywalker. All 6 of those actors will be joining us. The week after that, we've got some guests from A Christmas Story, which is a classic Christmas movie that airs every year here in the US. And those actors, some of those actors will be joining us. And then starting in October, we're going to be hosting our 3rd Star Trek Universe event, bringing actors from various Star Trek shows. Then we're doing something different the week after. We're actually bringing you some actors that are not actually clients of Cool Waters, but it's going to be a first ever premiere of the 5 of these actors being together. It is the voiceover actors from the Peanuts cartoons, and we invite you to look at the website and then check that out. And then I am extremely excited to also announce that Billy D. Williams will be joining us on October 31st. Billy doesn't usually do things like this, but he's a dear friend of mine, and he agreed to do it as a favor to me. So I hope you'll join us for all of them if you can. And let's see, what else we have to mention? Oh, I have to do my special thanks. I have to thank for this week, Beckett Media, which they're always blasting out our events, so thank you so much, guys. Nerd Alert News, Be More Super Podcast, and Project Alice V on Twitter, plus the Comic-Con Network. All of those companies have gotten the word out about InHouse-CON, and we really appreciate it. So I know you want me to shut up now so we can get our guests in. Before we bring them in, I'm actually going to just show you a trailer for the original miniseries. This trailer, I found it on YouTube, and I will admit it's not the official trailer that was released by the studios. This was actually done by a fan. Maybe the fan is even watching now, but I just thought this trailer was so well put together and really encompasses the original miniseries. So we're going to take a look at that, and then our special guest will be with us. So hang with us, guys. Here we go. ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sarah Douglas, Frank Ashmore, and Jane Badler to the show. My tech guy, Tyler, is going to bring them all in. I actually see Frank and Sarah here already. Hi, guys.
Hi there. Hi, Frank. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
How are you all doing today?
Very well.
Frank, where are you calling in from today, Frank?
Sun Valley, California.
Very well. Sarah, where are you calling in from?
Stratford-on-Avon, United Kingdom.
And Jane?
Melbourne, Australia.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for staying up late. Jane, for getting up early. It's already tomorrow where you are. And Frank and I get to sit here in the lovely afternoon with all the smoke hovering. So thank you all for taking time out of your days to be with us today.
Pleasure. Great to be here.
Yes.
And I haven't seen Frank in 100 years. So
We almost did, Sarah. You did a coffee thing with Richard Hurd.
I did do, Richard.
I was invited and I couldn't get there.
That's right.
But I was sent pictures.
I know, and it was wonderful. And I'm sorry to miss you, but I'm so glad I had a chance to see Richard again.
Yes. Yes.
He's no longer with us, but
God rest his soul.
absolutely. Yes. And Jane, you and I, we just keep trying, don't we, to get together? I came all the way down there and you went to Argentina or somewhere.
I don't know. It's not easy, but now I am definitely, in lockdown in Melbourne, Australia for God knows how long. So I'm an eager participant. Nice to see you, Frank.
Good seeing you, Jane. Gosh. I know I sent you a message not too long ago about the first convention that you and I did. Do you remember that, Jane? At the Marriott?
That's when oh, yeah.
LAX Marriott?
Well.
Wasn't
Yep.
that something? Yeah, it was our first experience. Kind of blew our minds, I think, a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That blew my mind.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to bring you guys in person to blow your minds even more, but hopefully today will be fun for you all. So I've actually prepared some questions, and I'm going to ask the first few while our fans are given an opportunity to get questions in. Now, fans, just so that you know, there are 2 areas in Zoom that you're allowed to chat with each other, but only one section is where you send questions in for the actors to look at. So at the bottom of your screen, there is a chat room. The chat room is specifically only for the fans to talk amongst each other, as well as my tech guy, Tyler, will be chatting with you guys as well. The actors do not go into the chat room. If you would like to ask any of our panelists a question, you need to go into the Q&A room, which is in the bottom right of your screen. You enter your question there, and when we get to that portion of our show today, I will be reading the questions aloud. The actors will be answering your questions live as we ask them. While we're waiting for fans to get their questions in, let me kick it off. And these first couple questions are actually for all 3 of our panelists today, okay? And this first one is a strictly fun one. Guys, I'd like to know, do you believe in aliens? And if so, do they come in peace? Who wants to start that one off?
Well, I guess I'll start. I mean, I've been asked that question many times, But do I believe in aliens? Yes, I do.
I second that.
Yeah. And I've
Absolutely.
heard that.
Would I call it an alien? I don't know. That's kind of a funny term when you think about weird creatures, because maybe an alien's just a diaphanous mist that sort of arrives. But there's definitely beings and spirits and things that are not of this world. Absolutely. And I think, have I ever seen them? No, I wish I could. I'd like to meet them. I'm here, everybody, if you want to meet me. But yeah.
Good, good, good. Sarah, do you want to get beamed up?
Ooh, babies, that's an offer. With the most fun I've had these past few months in lockdown, I'll tell you.
No.
Okay, sorry, Derek.
No, it's true. All right, again, my next question, again, this is for all of the panelists. This one's a little bit more serious. And obviously, a lot of the people that are watching today know where I'm going to lead in with this question. For those of you who have never seen the series, like my tech guy, Tyler, bad boy, or for some people who haven't seen the series in a very long time, I invite you to go back and watch it because it relates to this question. So my panelists, V, even though it is a science fiction fantasy television series, it actually covered a large number of societal issues, including race and prejudice, references to war and slavery, the slavery of the Jewish people, and politics. And what I'm interested to know from you guys working on the show, how important were those elements to the success of the show? And were each of you aware of how specific those played into the storylines? When you read the script, were you just like, wait a minute, are we making a drama here about real life, or are we making a sci-fi film? So it's a two-part question. Sarah, why don't you kick us off with that?
Yeah, well, Derek, you have to realize that I'm with a group of people that hasn't watched V in how many years? So I am not the best person to ask. I also, you know, my memory of working on this, because obviously I wasn't there that much. I just remember being, it wasn't so much the script, I just remember being completely in awe of the set. I'd never seen anything quite like it. And I was working at the same time on Falcon Crest. So I was doing a nighttime soap at the same time, and then coming over and I was, you know, doing V. Jane, of course, was too gorgeous for words. And I know it's a terrible thing to say, but what I remember is not the script, but I remember that her hair was gorgeous and luscious, and mine was gorgeous and luscious, and they made me wear a short cropped, well, not short cropped, but a short nylon wig. And I still haven't got over it, so that we didn't look too similar. So she was all gorgeous in this lovely hair, and I was in I know that's not the question, but I'm just trying to pad over the fact that I have very little memory of the show, other than hamsters being eaten. And
well, Sarah, you came in during the series, right? Not in the original miniseries, right?
No, I was in the miniseries.
Oh, you in the miniseries? It's the second one, right? The second one.
That's correct.
Yeah. No, I just want to say that just to respond to Sarah, that I remember this Amazonian, amazing actress who I had to really be on my game whenever I had a scene with her. And that was fantastic. I hope we get to work again, because you were an amazing actress.
And you know something? We almost did work again. Do you remember? We tested for a pilot that they hoped that we were going to play twins. We were going to play sisters.
I love that. I just need your height. I need your height.
Yeah, I remember being indefinitely in flat shoes with you. But I remember being very pleased being taller than you, because I just felt I got a little bit of a head start, literally a head start on you.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Frank, I'll let you speak now. I'll shut up.
Right.
Thank you very much, sir. You know, I didn't realize you were wearing a wig. It was very well done, I might add.
Very.
I always kind of thought my hair was rather gorgeous too. Yes, Stage 25 was an amazing set, wasn't it?
It was extraordinary.
It was, I tell people that ask me this question, when you walked on it for the first time, whether you're an actor or a crew, having been around filming, you're blown away by this thing, which no longer exists. But at the time, it was a incredibly overwhelming experience. The detail was awesome. The scope and the grandeur of the set was just, it was breathtaking. It was pretty awesome. And when I first saw it, I hadn't seen any of the other interiors, the corridors and so on and so forth. That was my first indoctrination to the soundstage sets. And I knew that we were doing something really rather special.
But Derek, if you want us to answer your question, which
I just don't interrupt people when they're talking, but yes, just for my own, because, you know, as a fan of the show growing up, even at a young age, I was very aware of these things that I mentioned that were in the show, and I really would like to get Jane and Frank's input on it because, you know, obviously the creator of the series had a lot of influence from, you know, things that have happened in our world's past and things that were currently happening in the 80s. So I'd like to know your views on it, even if it's just short. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll keep it very short. I just think that Ken Johnson was a perfectionist, and he had a very pure vision. And of course, he only did the first miniseries, but I definitely think that his political and social views were what resonated. I don't think V would have been half of the extraordinary explosion, you know, of popularity without that. There's no way. People love. And I mean, what a vision to think we're still grappling with those issues more than ever right now in America, do you know?
Absolutely. Frank, yes?
Yes, I agree. The neo-Nazi theme that ran almost subtextually through V set it aside from other sci-fi yarns. Because of that, we had a very profound piece of art. My character, Martin, was representative of the resistance that actually took place during World War II. There were those who went underground to assist in the annihilation of Nazism, that fascist arm that was operating at the time. And the fact that I was asked to play that role was an incredible honor. I loved the role of Martin, probably more than any other role I've played other than maybe Branch Rickey. Martin was, yeah, one of my favorites because of that.
And then Frank, going into real life, you know, outside of V, you actually are a vet, and thank you for your service. What branch did you serve in, and was this before or after V?
Before V, and I was in the Navy. So that landing bay kind of smacked at landing bays on a lot of the aircraft carriers that are operating out there right now.
Well, again, thank you for your service. I owe my freedom to people like you, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Jane, question for you, and a lot of the fans I'm sure watching know this, but for the ones that don't, aside from being an incredible actress, you're also a singer. And I'd like to know, for you, do you have a little bit sway one way or the other? You like singing better than acting, or is it kind of equal? And then what are your inspirations for your music?
You know, I think if you're just oh, what happened to Derek? He disappeared, didn't he? He's like a little cartoon figure suddenly. That's okay. Hi, Ducky. No, I think that I think if you're a creative person, you find other creative outlets. It's just, you know, let's just say that you're not acting a lot, then suddenly you're singing, you know, and singing, and now and I'm sure that you guys can relate to it, Frank and Sarah, that you know, that we just have to create. And especially now with COVID being locked up, you know, in a small confine, well, not so small. I'm very blessed to have my lovely study. I just think that more than ever, you have to find ways to, then singing was something I did for a while, and I don't love it less or more than acting. It's just another way of expressing myself. And right now I'm very much into concentrating on the acting again. So ebbs and flows, depending on where you're at in your life.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, guys, believe it or not, this is wonderful. We have actually got a Q&A room full of questions. I don't think we've experienced this since we started InHouse-CON. There's a plethora of them. So I'm going to start diving in right away. and leave my questions to the side because this is for the fans. So the first question is from Janice, and this is directed to all of our panelists. And I'm going to need my glasses for this, so excuse me. This was the coolest concept about wizard aliens in human disguise. What drew you to audition for this series, and how did you get the part, or how were you notified that you got the part? Sarah, why don't we kick that off with you?
I don't even remember reading for it. I mean, I guess I did, but I had come to America. I'd been in America, I think, about a year after, and I'd done Superman prior to that. So I was already sort of cracking away with the alien, well, doing those sort of sci-fi type roles, and I'd done a few things before Superman. So it was a sort of, I wouldn't say it was a natural progression, but I remember when they asked me to do it, it seemed very exciting. And again, because I was doing Falcon Crest, which was, again, something I wasn't expecting to do, but I ended up doing, and it was the 80s. So it was big hair and big shoulders and big. So the idea of suddenly basically playing a lizard, I can remember being very tempting. It just seemed like, I mean, there wasn't, and correct me guys if I'm wrong, there wasn't really anything else sci-fi wise out there on TV.
Right.
This is the first. I mean, I know I did Space 1999, you know, little back in 1970, whatever, in England. But as far as a proper big, fabulous production, this was it. This was, you know, the first time. So for me, I don't remember if I auditioned, and that's an awful thing to say, but I really don't remember, although I confess, as those that know me know, I don't remember a lot about the ages, unfortunately. But I guess I possibly did. But I can remember being thrilled and delighted to be there. And of course, Mark Singer, who I later on worked with again on Beastmaster. And, you know, it was just, it was a great cast. And I know I said it earlier on, I cannot tell you, as Frank was saying, how extraordinary it was to step on that set. And I'd seen some pretty amazing sets with Superman back at Pinewood Studios in England. But this for a TV, you know, this was a TV show. And it was brilliant, and I was delighted to be there, more than delighted to be there. And I have now finished my blood.
Derek?
Derek's become a duck again, so just carry on, Jane. I'm going to take over this.
That's okay. Maybe we just.
I'm always here in the background, guys. I turn off my camera because I'm not the star of the show. I want people to focus on you. But I'm listening to everything you're saying. So now, Jane or Frank, you can take your turn at answering.
Now we know you've not disappeared. Okay.
No, I'm here. I adore you guys.
We like seeing you. We like seeing
Yeah, stay on with us, Derek.
I will. I'm here. So Jane or Frank, who wants to take?
Please, Jane, go ahead.
Well, at the time that I got V, I had not, I don't remember if I'd done much nighttime TV. I think I might have done Fantasy Island, where I was like a slave girl or something. And I think that at the time I was doing a daytime soap opera, and I was also doing a lot of Arid Extra Dry commercials. And I think they flew me out to LA. And I was like desperate to break into nighttime television. You know, the hierarchy was a bit different then, you know, it was like daytime, nighttime, then feature films. Now, of course, it's all mushed together. Yeah. But yeah, so they flew me out to LA, and I remember they put me up in a lovely hotel. Those were the days they fly you first class and you stayed in beautiful hotels, you know, and it was so nice room to audition, which was unusual. And I went in and met Ken Johnson. There was a whole bunch of people there, and I did my audition. I don't think it was like my greatest audition. And I went back to my hotel room, and then like a little note got slipped under my door, "Don't leave town." And that's lovely words to an actress, "Don't leave town." So the next morning I was in prosthetics, and that was it, baby. The rest is history.
Wow. That's amazing. Did it happen that quickly, Jane?
Yeah,
that quick.
That quick.
Frank, how about you?
Well, I did just to kind of piggyback on what Jane just said. Yeah, it was happening really fast. My soon-to-be wife at the time, Shannon Monahan, was Kenny Johnson's assistant, and she assisted Kenny in getting the script up. She typed every word of V on a Selectric typewriter. We were right on the threshold of the PC coming onto the scene, but Kenny hadn't really discovered it yet. He was like dabbling with it, but anyway, he wrote the entire script on yellow steno pads, handed them to Shannon, and she typed them.
My God.
So she gets into, I mean, she's typed this thing now for like months. And Brandon Tartikoff, president of NBC at the time, wanted this thing in production yesterday. And Kenny said, I haven't even finished the script yet. But what he had read already was probably the first 2 hours of the 4-hour miniseries. My character doesn't really take off in the show until the second 2 hours. And then it becomes a pretty solid character. I did not have to read for the role of Martin. I would go to the lot and I would pick up Shannon. We would have lunch together. So I met Kenny. And when it came time for the role of Martin to kind of find its genesis, he started writing this character. Shannon came home one night and said, oh my God, Frank, there's a role in this thing for you. And I said, yeah. And she said, yeah. And I said, well, can I read it? She said, no, can't do that yet. But I think I can get you in to meet Kenny for it. I did. And the rest was history. I played Martin based on the fact that Kenny Johnson called Phyllis Huffman, who was casting V, and said, the role of Martin is cast. You don't have to worry about that one, which really upset Phyllis Huffman. God rest her soul.
Wow.
Her husband, David Huffman, a wonderful actor who I always was in competition with out there. We were always up for the same roles. She wanted her husband to play it. Anyway, I was given the honor of playing Martin without an audition, based on not a lot of work, but I had started doing a lot of nighttime television, guesting on this one and that one. And then I had already done Airplane, which, you know, that film, not much of a role, but doggone it. I mean, I ended up in what was considered to be a very iconic classic comedy. And I'm so happy that I did that. I had no idea where this thing was going when we shot it. But anyway, I had done that. So it was pretty easy for Kenny to cast me and take care of that part. He didn't have to worry about that one.
I'm sure I speak for everyone watching and the lovely ladies that we're glad it was you, because I think you do a fantastic job. Our next question is for Jane. Jane, this is from James, and I love this question. This is a very unique question. If you were a defense attorney defending Diana's crimes against humanity, what would you say to the jury in your opening statement?
Wow.
What? What was that? What would I do?
If you were a defense attorney and had to do your opening statement on behalf of Diana's crimes against humanity, what would be included in your opening statements to the jury?
Wow.
It's a tough,
Well,
but it's interesting.
I don't know.
No pressure, Jane.
I would honestly say she added a bit of zhush and fun and frivolity and sexuality. Okay, and we do have to say that there's something to be said for that.
Absolutely. All right. Our next question is from John, and John is directing this to all of our panelists. He would just like to know what it was like working with Faye Grant, and if maybe you have any nice memories of her.
Frank, you want to go? I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I didn't work with Faye at all until the series came along, and that was way down the road a bit. There were a lot of incarnations before that took place. Faye is a great gal. She still is sweet and a hell of an actress. I loved her in V. I thought she was extremely powerful in V and beautiful to look at. She has all of the qualities of a movie star, just as the other two ladies that I'm sharing the screen with right now are. Yeah, you know, that word is thrown around a lot, movie star, but not only is it a look, it's also an incredible talent that gets those people that are considered movie stars to that strata in the acting world. Faye is a beautiful, lovely movie star.
Hey, we can't, there's nothing for Jane and I to say, is there, Jane?
No.
Frank has said it all. Frank has said it all. So let's go on to our next question then with that, no problem. This one is from Elizabeth, and again, it's directed to everyone. And she says, hi, I'm calling in from Sweden, and she's there with her daughter, Leah, who just started watching V, and her daughter, Leah, would like to know, do you guys have a funny memory from making V? We've stumped the panelists.
Well, I've already told you that my memory is just to do with and they're not even that funny, but the fact that I was in a wig, and the other thing was Jane had some shiny black boots, really nice black boots, and I got what in England would be called Wellington boots. I just seemed to get an old pair of gum boots. And I can remember thinking, this is not the way I should be looking. I am a superior commander here. And I mean, yeah, you got all the nice stuff.
I'm so glad I'm hearing this now, right?
Yeah.
She was very in character, that's for sure.
No, I was pissed at my wig and my Wellington boots.
I think the thing that I probably remember most is extraordinary scene where I eat the rat. You know, that was probably the most extraordinary thing that I did, which at that time there were no special effects. You know, we didn't have green screens. It's not like now, you know, because 10 years later I came back and did, not 10 years later, 20 years later, I came back and did the reboot. And I wanted to do a scene and make faces, you know, but for this one, I literally, I had to, you know, it was a deal. You know, they had tubes going down my throat. They made a dummy that looked like me, and they had to have 3 men behind me pumping air into my neck so that, you know, looked like, and I mean, it was like, it took 2 days. I mean, I don't know, it took forever just for that one shot. And I remember thinking, oh, for God's sake, what's so important about this shot? But now, of course, that's the shot that everybody goes, oh my God, the rat. So that's probably my one moment I remember the most.
I hope you haven't spoilt it for Leah now. I hope you haven't spoiled that scene for Leah, who's going to be watching it soon. You know?
Well,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She just has something to look forward to.
Amen. She surely does. Yeah, the special effects on V were quite awesome, given the fact that there was no CGI at the time. That scene right that Jane just described, her eating the what was it, a hamster, a guinea pig, or
yeah,
God,
I think I remember.
That was an incredible piece of filmmaking.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was incredible.
Jane, we need to know, does hamster taste just like chicken?
You know, it's exactly like chicken, you know.
Okay, our next question is from Alan, and this is directed to everyone. He'd like to know what you guys are working on right now. What can we see you in next?
Well, you can see me in lockdown. I'm starring in my own lockdown movie.
Yeah.
I was, you know, we were all hoping, you know, I've done this series of films for Netflix, Christmas Prince, and we were very much hoping that we might have managed another one this year, because we've done 3 in a row. But that's like everything else is being put on hold. So I'm just grateful for voiceovers and voice work and doing little things like this. But I can honestly say my career is absolutely sucks at the moment. So that's all. But we're all in it together.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all in the same position because there just isn't really any work around for us to do because it's too damn difficult.
And even when there is work, you know, it's not as much fun, that's for sure. Like I'm in the middle of two little projects here in Melbourne. One is a horror film, because I do a bit of horror now. And a couple of years ago, I did a horror film called Free Fall, where I played the evil housekeeper. Oh my God, when I saw it, I looked so unattractive. They literally put no makeup on me, and I had a little bun. And I just went, wait, and even my husband was watching it. He couldn't even look at my acting. He just said, you don't look good. I said, thanks, honey. But I guess there comes an age, no matter how much you like to think of yourself as the,
Yeah.
you know, orphan to these.
Yeah, and Jane, when you've got all those wonderful images that we have of you, especially during the V time, and I have the same thing with, you know, the whole sort of Superman thing. I never thought it would really be difficult, but it's getting to be difficult.
Yes, it is very much. But
you see it all the time. You're being reminded all the time.
yes, totally. So I've got that film coming out, and I'm working on a horror film here that hopefully we'll shoot in the next month or two, and I'm producing something that hopefully we'll be shooting, but God knows when. It's yeah. You know, it is. But I'm busy writing. I'm writing my very first novel, and it's really me. It's about me, but it's fictionalized and fantasized. You know, and I'm doing that. So that keeps me in a constant state of anxiety and, you know, stress.
Excellent. Congratulations, Jane. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
So our next question is from Rob, and this is another fun question. It's a thinking question for you all. Where might your characters be today, and who won the war? Ooh, another tough one. So why don't we do this? I'm going to let our panelists think about that. Where might your characters be today, and who won the war? While they are thinking, my tech guy Tyler is going to throw up a poll for all of our viewers to play along with. Polls are just for fun. They don't mean anything. So everybody can answer this question when it pops up on your screen. Should the original V series, a TV series, continued past one season? Yes, no, or one last 2-hour finale? So let's see what everybody answers on that. And while the fans are answering, hopefully now, Sarah has an answer to the question. Where is your character and who won the war?
I'm still in a coffin, if you remember. I'm dead. I'm below ground. I have nothing to offer. But that's me done. Thanks for reminding me. She got me. She shot me. Didn't even give me a chance to.
Deserved it. She should have shot you twice. Frank, what about you?
I think she did shoot me twice, actually.
Yeah. She shot me too.
Yeah.
I'm dead. She shot everybody. She shot Richard Hurd.
So Jane, you're the only one with the answer. Who won the war, and where is Diana today?
You know what? I think that the resistance, are we the resistance, right? You know, I think that 35 years. Wait, you know, whatever fate, I think they won the war. And where am I? I am definitely, I'm not the type of character. I am never going to give up. I have my coterie of fans, and I think I'm on a little island preparing for another takeover.
God.
That's perfect. Diana, or maybe she's on a farm raising cattle, and she's just, no.
No.
All right, here come the results for our poll, Tyler. Okay, so yes, no, and one last 2-hour finale. So the answer is yes, it should have continued. All right, fans, so we know that we should have seen more. Very good. All right, let's do another question here. Why is that one still showing? I don't know. All right, this one is from Jorge or George, depending on what part of the world he lives in. this is directed to all of you. If you had the opportunity to do V again, would you change anything in your characters? Jane, take it away.
Me? You say me?
Yes, ma'am.
Would I change anything about my character? No, I loved my character. It gave me, even, you know, it's a weird thing, but I was very insecure at that time, you know, in my 20s and trying to build my career. And when I got that job, I don't know, at first I was, you know, trying to morph myself into Diana, but by the time we did the series, even though a lot of the cast members were a bit, scripts were going, I personally was really hitting my stride. And I think that it sort of influenced me in my real life. I became a little bit cocky and sort of, I mean, I don't think those are such great qualities, mind you, but I have to say at the time, I felt pretty damn good playing that role, you know? So would I change it? No. I think role that I hope, you know, one day I get another role that even touches the amount of fun I had doing that one.
Yeah.
Very well. So our next question is from Faith. This is just a little fun question and actually gets asked a lot in our panels because fans just love to hear these stories. Did any of you keep any little momentum from the show? A prop, a costume, anything?
Can I answer that real quick?
Of course, Frank.
I wish that I had the insight to bring a baggie onto the set and grab a handful of keys that opened the doors.
Yes.
Oh my God, I would be a millionaire today.
But we didn't do it then, Frank. We didn't keep stuff back then.
No, but we should have, Sarah. the guns, the handguns. Look at this.
Look at what
And the keys. Yeah. Fans are always asking me about the keys and stuff.
I have my dolls.
Let me. Oh my God! Look at you.
What are they, Jane? From the? Are they props for miniatures?
No, these fans have made these for me, and you know, they're my entourage. They remind me, you know, of my power.
I love it. Fantastic. All right. Let us take our next question. Actually, this is a good one. This is from Janice. And Janice, I think you're reading my mind because this was actually on my list of questions to ask the guys and girls. So I'm going to combine Janice's question and mine into one simpler form. We would like to know, in your entire career, what's the one thing that you wish every fan would see? And I'm going to interject. It could be stage, film, television, doesn't matter. What's the one thing that you're very proud of in your career that we should all see? Sarah, take it away.
Well, it just comes straight to mind because I loved it many, many years ago when I was a young, young actress. I did a TV series called Thundercloud. And it was, I loved doing it so much. It was set on a naval base in a land during the war years. Quite often, they would have land bases that were actually like ships. So the Navy, the naval officers and all the crew would go back on board, but it was actually on land. Now, don't ask me about this because I don't really understand it, but they had these naval bases. And this series was based on this naval base, and it was all men and me. And I was Bella, and I was the vicar's daughter, and I rode a horse, and I was passionately in love with the lieutenant there. And every week he had a fantasy, and every week I appeared in that fantasy. So whether I was playing Matahara or at one point a Nazi officer in sort of, and it was the first time they had done a series in England without, it was a black comedy, but they did a series without an audience. So we, you know, without hearing the laughter. and I absolutely adored it. We shot it up in Yorkshire. I was in my mid-20s, just after Superman, before Superman had really hit. And it was just, I was frightfully English and terribly keen, but it was brilliant. It was great fun. And I just loved being the only woman there. The end.
The end. Frank, your turn.
That's it.
I played, I mentioned it earlier, Branch Rickey in a stage production of a wonderful play entitled National Pastime. Branch Rickey, I'm sure everyone knows, is the legendary manager of the Los Angeles, well, it was the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time, who brought Jackie Robinson to the major leagues and broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball, which I always, especially today, with the movement that's taking place across America about racism, hearken to that story, because it really, there were a couple of strategic moments in our history as a nation that allowed what's going on today to take place. Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball was one of them. Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on the bus was another. And of course, Martin Luther King and his march was yet again a third and very powerful moment. But that performance was backed with an incredible script. The dialogue was great. The kid that played Jackie Robinson was an awesome actor, Jed Reynolds. His father, James Reynolds, who's been an actor on Days of Our Lives for probably 35 years now, produced it and directed it at his theater in South Pasadena. I wish everyone could have seen that performance. To me, it was, I want to do it again. As a matter of fact, I'm in constant contact with the playwright, and he's constantly putting it out there. It's a tough play to get produced because it requires 12 actors. So on an equity contract, that would be a rather expensive production. Anyway, it may happen. The movie's already been done by the wonderful Harrison Ford and Chadwick Boseman, God rest his soul. I can't believe that Chadwick passed. Wow. Anyway, I was always hoping to make that movie. It wouldn't have been called 42. It would have been called National Pastime. Same story, a little more gritty. The moment where Branch brings Jackie into the idea of doing this very ardent task was a pretty intense scene. And Brian Harnato, who wrote the script, documented it to the T. The film glossed over it, but the scene in the play is a 15-minute gem that is pretty powerful stuff.
Thank you, Frank. All right, Jane, how about you?
There some kids somewhere or something. It's I hear.
Yeah, I know. I thought there were kids at your house, Jane.
No, I believe
No.
it's Frank's grandson. You can hear him in the background.
Oh, Luke, they can hear you.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing it all the
Yeah.
time. I thought it was
I hear a lot of voices in the back. Yeah.
He's a YouTuber.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, no, I think for me, it's a funny old little film I did with a guy named Chad Darnell, and I'd never done comedy before. I was always kind of cast a certain way, and it was a very comic role. It was called The Birthday Party, done on a shoestring budget, not that long ago. And I realized, like, I really can do comedy. Like, I love comedy. And I think that was the first time that I realized I played myself, but an exaggerated version of myself, And then after that, I got a film in Spain where I also was in a Spanish, like a kind of a, hi guys, kind of a Spanish comedy about a group of women that were all gay. And then I did that, and I love doing comedy now. I think, I'd love to do more comedy. So I think that was a pivotal turning point for me. And not a lot of people have seen The Birthday Party. It's on Amazon, it's on wherever it's on. But I'm really proud of that performance in that. So yeah.
All right. Well, the viewers need to check that out, guys, on Amazon, please. That's great. Support our panelists. So our next question is from John, and he mentions that he's from Scotland. I love it that we have viewers from all around the world. And this is directed to Sarah and Jane. If you were to star in a show together, what would you like it to be? Maybe a comedy.
Oh, no, it would have to be a comedy because, you know.
Sarah, do you know we have that man from
We do. What happened to that?
that is the man. There's a man from London who sent us both a script of a play, kind of like the Christie kind of whodunit, with all these kind of eccentric characters. And when I read it, I thought, oh my God, that I would love to do with Sarah. It's a stage play, but super fun. Did you read that?
Of course I read it, and I was in contact with him, and obviously we just terrified him because he disappeared.
I think it was hard for him to get it up, especially now. I don't know.
Maybe when the pandemic's over, you could recontact Sarah and see if there's a light.
I can't believe that there isn't somebody out there that doesn't have an idea for the two of us together, because the fans, certainly my fans, are always saying, when are you two going to get together? Because they so love the chemistry between, and I love the chemistry I have with Jane, and we so enjoy being together and working together that
Totally.
I'm just, you know, one of these days, obviously we're not I'm not the spring chicken that I was, my dear. But
Neither, honey. I'll talk to my manager. I'll talk to my manager about
you
it.
talk to your manager and you talk, and then we'll all talk, and then but no, it would be great to do. I mean, that's the wonderfulness of when you've got somebody and you like with Jane, it would be such a thrill to be working with somebody that you already know that you've got a chemistry with, you know.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
absolutely, and it doesn't happen too often that you get to repeat things, you know. And that's why my thing with Christmas Prince, for what it's worth, my little group of people that I work with, and we're all on our little WhatsApp group, and we all talk all the time. It's so wonderful to come back a year later and do another film, and come back a year later. So Jane, we've got to think about this.
Yeah, we will, Sarah. Thank you for this panel. We are now getting work from this panel, so thank you.
Well, yes, and we will in turn employ Frank. Derek is. I mean, we've got lots of opportunity here. Okay.
I'm all for it. Let's do it.
I was just gonna say, yeah, remember your boy up here in the corner.
Don't forget. Don't worry. You're the top left hand of my page. Good place to be.
All right. Our next question is from Bassam. Bassam would like to know, were there any plans for Frank or Sarah to come into the rebooted V series that Jane got to do? And I think Mark was on it as well, wasn't he, Jane?
Yes, he was.
So Frank and Sarah, did you ever get a call? And if the series gone on, Bassam wants to know if you would have been in it.
Nothing. The only thing that ever happened to me was after the mini-series, there was talk of although I guess I'd been shot dead, but there was talk of me coming back into the series. When they started the series, there was a discussion that took place that didn't actually involve me, but it seemed to involve my agent, who was much more determined that I would stay on Falcon Crest, because in those days, a nighttime soap was a biggie. And, you know, and I can remember him just saying, but you don't want to do that. They've, you know, and that was the end of that. And I wasn't in any kind of place or position, or I had no wisdom at the time to know that Falcon Crest, I was one of 27, and half of them have got big hair like me, or I could have been part of this wonderful group that continues. And I've just got to say now, because I haven't mentioned it, I am so incredibly impressed with the fans of V. Every country I go to, there's these wonderful groups of people that I meet that are still so supportive. I mean, they're all out there, aren't they, Jane? I mean, brilliant. Oh, I've been to Sweden and France and Connecticut, and you know, they give me a mug, or they give me a flyer, or they give me a badge.
Oh, incredible. I love them. They keep our careers
alive. All these years later. Brilliant.
You know, having said that, I just want to quickly say, those agents at that time, I was on Falcon Crest too, by the way. We must have been ships in the night. But
Yeah.
honestly, those agents at that time, they gave me some very bad advice too. I mean,
know.
my next role after V was another, similar role. And then they wanted me to play some S&M girl in the Philippines. Didn't really could have been expansive.
You froze on S&M girls. I don't know the rest of the story.
No, it's okay. Well, we don't need to go there. I turned it down. But
Our
Yeah,
next-
I think I was offered that job in the Philippines.
oh,
I do. Because I turned up.
Yeah.
I tell you, you and I, we've got to compare notes. But yes,
Yes, and in twins.
it just reminds you that, and we're talking about the early 80s in Hollywood, and V was still, after the miniseries, it was still a very new, even though people were excited about it, people didn't really know where it was going, did they? And then you guys took off. And certainly, as far as I was concerned, I mean, I often think about it because I know that later on June Chadwick came in, and I know she was English. She didn't actually play me, but she sort of played a character a little bit similar. But there had been a discussion, and why did nobody actually discuss anything with me? I can't say that I would have said that I would do it, because I'm not sure that I would have thought that it was the way to go. I'm sure that I would have stuck with, Napa Valley and Wine and Jane Wyman. I don't know, but you're right. We were young things, and we did what we were told, basically.
Falcon Crest is a whole other story. Oh my God.
Oh
can talk
my
about
goodness!
that
Oh, could
For
we
days
talk about?
too, but we're on the V panel, so let's,
Okay, sorry. Okay.
We'll have a Falcon Crest panel another day.
Oh,
So
God.
our next question is from Frank, and this is directed actually towards all of you. I'm going to compose two of his questions together. Do any of you keep in touch with Kenneth Johnson? And also, would any of you be interested in doing a role in the new V movie that is rumored that might come to reality? Those are from Frank. Who wants to start?
I think Frank should start.
Yeah, hi. I have seen Kenny within the last, I guess, 2 years. Had coffee with him just to, catch up and say hi. And he was very excited at the time about the possibility of his film getting made. I think Desilu was the entity that was coming up with some money, and anyway, subsequently it fell out, and I don't know where it's at this point in time, but I know that that's something he really would love to do. And given filmmaking where it's at today, he would have a hell of a time doing it, wouldn't he? With all of the innovations that we've come up with filmmaking wise. Would I want to role in it? Yeah, hell yeah, I'd play the Supreme Commander. with Richard's blessing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually probably 15 years beyond where Richard was when he played it. I think Richard was probably just cresting 60, maybe. I think he was still in his 50s when he played John. And y'all know how old I am, don't you? 75 years old. 75.
Well,
Anyway.
I think this is where we say something, Jane, like, wow.
Yeah. Oh, please, no. Oh, Frank, you look fabulous.
Heavens
You
above.
can't be that age.
Wow.
Gotcha.
You handsome devil.
Oh, thank you, dear.
So here, Frank, this is a direct question for you. Oh, sorry, I should let the ladies answer that other question. Sorry, Jane and Sarah.
No, I've got nothing to say.
Okay,
That's
good.
okay. I don't even remember the question anymore. So it's
Me
okay.
neither. That's what I said.
Moving on. So Frank, Lego V, Burbank Mothership, wants to know, did you come back as Philip after Martin was killed off because of fan outcry, or was it a studio request, or a change of heart?
Martin dies, and this is simply legend. I don't know if this is true or not, but it's been told to me that they meaning NBC and Warner Brothers both, had never received as much mail as they did from the fans when Martin died. So the producers at the time kind of like went, oh my God, what are we going to do? And they came up with the Philip idea. The reason they killed Martin, I was told by one of the producers, they didn't know how to write for Martin, which to me is like really a terrible answer to a kind of a stupid question, really. I mean, Martin was really, he was one of the mainstay characters at that point. Didn't know how to write for Martin? Come on, science fiction. You can do anything you want with a character like that. He's an alien, for God's sake. He didn't really have to die, actually. If you know anything about reptilians, Martin could have crawled under a rock and grown another tail or whatever. He didn't really have to die. I don't think. I always kind of fantasized that he could have somehow gone into some kind of a hibernation state that no one knew about and popped back up again. And we would have still had Martin. Instead, we ended up with Philip, and Philip and Martin are not the same character as much as people would have liked them to be. They tried to turn Philip into a very strong adversary for the Mark Singer character. And we all know that Mark Singer is the Beastmaster and an incredible stuntman in and of himself. I had done some stunts. I'm not that stuntman actor that Mark Singer is. So it kind of, it worked, I guess, as well as it could, but it didn't really quite make it, I don't think.
Gotcha. All right, so our next question is from Brad, and this is directed to all of our panelists. What does it mean to you to have V stand the test of time and have fans still to this day?
Well, Jane, you have to answer that.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, it's like when we did V, you know, there was no social media, there was no computers. I mean, you didn't realize the extent of the reach of V. I certainly didn't. And I don't think it was until like 10 years later, 15, 20 years later, when something went, whoa, this like, people were starting to reach out to me because they could. And I was just like flabbergasted at the popularity of the show many years later. I mean, I went to Spain for the reboot, and that must have been 10 years ago. And I'll never forget, I went to the theater and there must have been thousands of people. Spain was very popular in Spain, Argentina, France, because they only had 2 radio stations. So everybody watched it. And I'll just never forget, people were so like in love with, you know, like I hadn't had that, you know, and I can understand why performers, when they get on a stage and they see the reaction of the audience, that brings them, that fuels their performance and fuels their tears. And so, yes, it's very moving. It's extraordinary, really, to have been part of something that I think was quite historical.
Yeah, I'm glad, Jane, you mentioned that business of social media, because a lot of the younger audience now, they don't actually understand that we were at a time where there, as you said, there was nothing. So the fact that it reached all the corners of the world, I mean, can you imagine the difference it would have made? I mean, my goodness me, we'd be on Instagram now and we'd be promoting whatever with millions and millions and millions and millions of people following us. You know, the reach that the younger actors have now, just like that overnight, because of social media. And something like V, I mean, I am forever, you mentioned Spain, and Spain is the one place that I go that people recognize me from V, which I'm amazed at. I mean, I wasn't even in it that much, but anyway, it's
that's right.
It's really an extraordinary feeling. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have the Superman thing as well, that sort of boot, because it's one thing or the other. But you know, the fact that people 30, 40 years on from me are still going on about it. How extraordinary, how lucky we are.
Yes, I agree. The same thing's going on with Airplane.
Oh, yes,
Just celebrated 40 years.
that's
And,
right.
you know, I have the pleasure of playing Victor in that, the navigator. And,
I love that movie. I love that movie.
well, it's a great comedy. It really is.
Yeah, and it's a great comedy for right now when you're having a bit, if you're in lockdown and you're fed up and you're sick of Netflix and you've done everything, go look at Airplane. It is brilliant.
Oh.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
uplifting.
they're streaming it quite readily these days
Are they?
because of that.
Oh, well, I'll check it out. Well, I've got a copy of it because everybody has a copy of Airplane. It was great.
I love it.
So
But,
Tyler,
yeah, I mean, V is incredibly iconic and popular all over the world. I get mail or I get hits on my Facebook page from all points on the globe. It's kind of amazing. It's an amazing thing. It's very humbling, I might add.
understood. Thank you guys for answering that. Tyler, my tech guy, is going to throw up another poll. Again, this is just for fun. So Tyler, let's do another poll. Which of the V installments is your favorite? The 1983 miniseries, V the Final Battle, or the 1984 series? So let's have you answer that. While we have our fans chime in, we have a few questions all talking about June Chadwick. So I'm going to combine like 4 or 5 questions into one to all of you. Do any of you keep in touch with her? Because, and especially Jane, a few fans have commented that they loved Diana and Lydia together.
Yeah, those were great things. I loved working with her. I mean, that was mostly in the series, and we had a lot of fun. And yeah, we were friends. You know, we were also friends after that, and we do stay in touch a lot. She really has a big lifestyle change. I think she worked with horses for a while, and then I think she went into physio and didn't really stay in acting, which is probably why people haven't seen much of her on the screen. But yeah, she's a very lovely girl, and we had a great time together.
Can I just say something real quick?
Of course, Frank.
By the way, she's living, I think she's still living in Santa Barbara, isn't she, Jane? You know?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. She's in Santa Barbara. Yeah, she has a little ranch up there, or it may be a big ranch, I don't know. But anyway, as a healthy young male, when I walked onto the set yet again a second or third time in the series and saw Jane and June standing there together, oh my God, come on. That was, it's like fantasy land.
Hey, why didn't you say?
I'm not going to say anymore.
Why
I
didn't
don't want
you
to
say
incriminate
when you saw
myself.
Sarah?
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Us older women love hearing that. We love it.
So with that, why don't we share our results? Here we go. So it looks like the miniseries is the winner. Fantastic. Thank you for playing along, folks. So guys, listen, I want to make this comment to all the fans that are watching out there. Tyler, why does this keep popping up on my screen? Stop sharing. Okay. Tyler, get rid of the poll. All right. We had a few questions. We had a few questions, all basically kind of the same. And a lot of it was, when are the panelists going to be appearing at a fan convention when the pandemic is over, so on and so forth. And I want to just take a brief moment to kind of half answer that on behalf of everybody. A lot of fans don't understand. They ask me personally, Derek, when will you bring one of your clients to an event? It doesn't actually work that way. Our company is not the one that is responsible for the actual bringing of them. Our responsibility is to solicit and hopefully entice the promoters enough to want our actors to come. And that is where you guys, the fans, come into play. It is very important, no matter where you are in the world, that you locate your local convention. It doesn't matter how big or small your convention is, 1,000 fans, 50,000 fans. You have to contact your local promoter and demand the actors that you want to see. If the promoters don't see the requests and the demands for it, they're not going to listen to me. I brag about Frank and Sarah and Jane all